Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ammara Zaheer. Welcome to PIPS Talks. I am a research associate at Pakistan Institute of Peace Studies. The topic today we are discussing is US-Iran peace process and role of Pakistan as a mediator in this peace process. We are also discussing that how this peace process is affecting the wider region and the countries involved in the conflict. Today we have with us Muhammad Amir Rana, who is a political economy and security expert. So, as of reports of 10th May 2026, Iran has said to have sent the response for US proposal through Pakistan. Temporary arrangements were made to halt the hostilities in the Strait of Hormuz, but the wider problem remains the same, and that is the Iran's nuclear program. Iran wants immediate end to the war, lifting of sanctions, putting an end to the US naval blockade, and restoration of safe shipping passages through the Strait of Hormuz. Also, Iran has asked to put to halt the negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. But US has today dismissed these proposals by Iran. US wants an immediate end to the Iran's nuclear program. Today, the Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Bakai has said that offers put forward by the Iran are both generous and legitimate, while he also has demanded that US should release the foreign assets of Iran. So, are these Iran's US peace process a genuine step towards stability and peace, or just another pause before another escalation? And where does Pakistan stand in all of this, as a mediator or as a strategic player?
Thank you, Ammara, for having a very interesting question. And it seems that the US Iran tensions are increasing, and Pakistan is trying its hard to sustain the uh, ceasefire, and both sides are exchanging their proposal. And as you mentioned about Ismail Bakai said that they want to end off this escalation and this crisis. But the problem is that Iran is trying very hard to achieve whatever they can do it at that moment. I think this is the golden opportunity for them. And when the global economy is under stress, and Trump also want to broker deal, and his China visit is in the corner, and he is under immense pressure. And I think the Iranians are trying hard that this is the best moment to do whatever they want to achieve. The one thing which Mr. Bakai hadn't mentioned, the core demand of the US, and this is about the enriched uranium. He talked about the Hormuz, he talked about all the frozen assets, and he talked about the long-term truce. I think the process will take time, and this is not the first time that the US and Iran are in a negotiation. If you recall, might you have heard, because Amara, you are so young, maybe you haven't born at a time when after the revolution in Iran, all these revolutionaries had seized the US embassy and hostage more than 44 diplomats. And you know that at that time, Algeria was playing the same role as the Pakistan is doing now. And Algeria had took more than 18 months to reach on a consensus. And later, the Iran had released these 44 hostage, and most of their demand was um, accepted by the US at that time. And we had seen a very secretive diplomacy in 2011-12 when President Obama wanted a nuclear deal with Iran. At that time, Oman, Muscat was the mediator, and this process happened more than 3 years. And the US and Iran remain engaged before reaching on this nuclear deal. So I think Iranian diplomacy is very tough, and we know that, and they have mastered themselves in the hard negotiations, and they are doing the same. And I think the US knows well about the Iranian attitude and how their diplomacy work. But the problem is with the Pakistan, as you had mentioned in it in your opening statement. Pakistan is first time is entering in these kind of the tough and critical mediation, and Pakistan hasn't any experience yet. And though we take credit for the US China channels which we facilitated to create during 70s, we did a small scale of the interventions in the region. But this is, I think, the huge task, and Pakistani is a big test for the Pakistani diplomacy. But I must say, I must give the credit to the Pakistan leadership, the CDF and Prime Minister Shehbaz, and the Foreign Office as well. That so far they are managing this channel and the process. And shuttle diplomacy never been easy. And how the Pakistan is handling, I think this is commendable. Let's see how the process will proceed in coming days.
So this brings me to my second question, that why Strait of Hormuz after the US Iran's negotiations on nuclear program has become a central point in the negotiations between the two countries.
Yeah, I think this is one of the core issue, and the Iran basically is exploiting the Strait of Hormuz. Nobody had imagined, and it had choked the 26% of the world energy trade, and the global economy is under stress, and they are using it as the one of the strategic and tactical leverage. So this is, I think, they knew that this is the strait is could be weaponized strategically, and this is basically creating a pressure. And you had mentioned about the Iranian demands. They also want the opening of this Hormuz. But Amara, one thing, there is opportunities lies for Pakistan. You know that every crisis bring opportunities for the certain actors, and you might have seen that yesterday the Pakistan had announced the 25% decrease in the transit tariff, and this is going to be benefit the Iranian trade. Maybe last week you have seen the news that Pakistan had agreed to provide the six corridor for the Iranian goods containers. So this is, I think, is opportunity, and the Port Authority chairman had mentioned in one of his statement that because of the tension in the Hormuz, so the Gwadar has emerged one of the lucrative destination for the trade with Iran and Central Asia. Let's see how the things will evolve, but the Pakistan um, problem is that the bureaucratic structure, the systems, they all the time uh, lost these kind of the opportunities. They are not very much capable visionary to immediately capitalize or exploit such opportunities. And just the I think the 2 weeks before, the one of the Chinese company, Hangchen, which was operating in Guada and exporting the donkey meats and the hides to China, they had closed their operations, and the reason was all these bureaucratic hurdles. So I think the opportunity is there. Pakistan capitalize on it, but they need a very quick response and to reduce the rat tapism in Pakistan.
So, sir, let us know about what is more important for US, stopping Iran's nuclear advancement or uh, reopening the routes of Gulf energy routes and gas routes.
Yeah, I think both are on priority. And if we talking about the pre-war situation, at that time the U.S. objective and designs were very different. They were thinking that maybe the regime change is possible and it would be very quick, and they had underestimated the strength of the IRGC and the Iranian regime. So at that time, they had very different motives. But as I mentioned, that after this Hormuz siege, then Iranian had exploited this opportunity, and I think the Hormuz is the prime objective, but we are ignoring the one a very important actor in our discussion. This is Israel, and maybe it was, I think, the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times had reported that Bibi Netanyahu had sold this plan to Trump, and they thought this is the best time to attack Iran. But most of their all these calculation assessments so far proved not 100% wrong, but maybe we can say the 60 to 70% wrong. Iran had proved a very hard nut to crack for both Israel and the US. So I think if we look in the shorter term, the US objective would be the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, but in the longer term, they would like to seize the enriched uranium from Iran. And maybe Bhutan is emerging another very interesting actor in this theater of war. And last week they had announced a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. And just after that, he offered the similar kind of the mediation as they had provided in 2015, that okay, we can hold Iranian enriched uranium, and they can provide this some kind of the mediation in this, at least the talks going on around this nuclear program or enriched uranium in Iran.
So, sir, tell us, given the hype created by the Trump administration at home, can they accept a deal where they do not dismantle fully the Iranian nuclear program?
Right, I think this is quite evident that they have failed to completely destroy not only their nuclear program, despite the heavy bombing on the nuclear side, but as well as the stockpiles of the missiles. And even this is the assessment might be only the 35 to 40% stockpiles of missiles being destroyed yet. So that's mean that Iranians still have the capacity and capability of destruction. And yesterday, before sending a proposal to US, they had threatened that if US have tried to re-initiate this crisis, so they will start war. It will be considered act of war, and they will start targeting the US targets in the Gulf. So it was a clear threat to all these Muslim countries, the Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain. Of course, this is a prime target of Iran because of some obvious reasons as well. But I think Iranian capability is still intact.
So, now let us come particularly towards the role of Pakistan as a mediator. So, sir, do you think that why Pakistan was acceptable to both Iran and United States as a mediator? Why not any other country like Turkey, Egypt, or any European country?
This is very interesting question. I think most of the analysts is giving credit to Pakistan's geographical the location. Of course, this is one of the plus point, but at the same time, the Pakistan is the only country which has somehow the functional relationship with Tehran. And if you look at in the whole Gulf, Middle East, Iran is a bit isolated. It got some allies in like Russia and China, but among the Muslim countries, among the neighbor, though Oman also tried to be maintain the similar kind of the status, but the Pakistan was the prime. And if you may recall that when last year the CDF Fasim Munir and Prime Minister Shahbaz had lunch meeting with President Trump, Trump had indicated that he is not only the favorite field marshal, but he had made a very interesting comment. He said he knows Iran very well. So it was indication that maybe the Pakistan is going to be play some role. At the time, there was a confusion whether this Pakistan will play a role as active actor in the conflict, but very few had imagined that Pakistan will emerge as a mediator. Uh, so this is, I think, credit goes to the Pakistani leadership, and they prefer to be neutral and provided their diplomatic support to this process. And this is very interesting because since last 2 3 decades, the Pakistan diplomacy was under question, and even the Pakistan was losing trust among its friendly countries in Gulf. China had reservation about Pakistan, and the reason was Pakistan all the time trying to maintain a middle ground and neutral position in somehow, and in China US case tried to manage the balance between the two. So this was conceived as the tricky character to whom you cannot fully rely. But I think this after this diplomacy, Pakistan diplomatic posture and strategic and geopolitical posture has been completely transformed, and we see that now the Pakistan emerged as a very confident middle power uh, with whom the Saudi Arabia, the Turkey, Egypt, Qatar want to make a broader regional alliance. So this is, of course, these are the advantages. But the one of the critical question is that Pakistan had gained a lot geopolitically with Pakistan's internal crisis, whether this is the security or the political chaos and the weak economy. With this kind of the profile, how Pakistan can navigate in this changing world. Let's see and hope the power elites in the country will seriously look into it as well. As I had mentioned about this, the Hangchen company, the case, which was a classical case for us, that how are we destroy all these opportunities whenever such opportunities arise. So this is, I think, that there is a need to be focused more on resolving the internal crisis, whether it's the political, security, or economy.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful remarks. We will continue this discussion on some other podcast. Thank you for your attention and thank you for your viewership. Thank you.